The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
Oh, Creator God, we give praise and thanksgiving for the gift of life today. We pray, dear God, that you will continue to lead and guide us in all that we do as called leaders during such a time as this. May you grant us continued courage, wisdom, and heart in our decision-making on behalf of our families, our communities, and abroad. O God of light, love, and justice, we pray that you may continue to breathe on and within us, O God, for the sense of peace, wellness, and healing throughout the land, throughout our bodies during these troubling times. We too pray for the strength and well-being of the leaders on the front lines today. May you too grant them rest and protection from the throes of their weary days as well. Beloved God, may you continue to provide resources and restore love to the brokenhearted, broken communities, and all that are suffering and grieving today. We pray these things in your name, O God. Amen and amen.
Amen. The chaplain for today is Minister Christine Belfry from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members, when the chief clerk calls the roll today to establish a quorum, please state your name, your location, and that you are present. Members using the remote voting application should also press the green yes button when your name is called. The clerk will take the roll.
Acom,
Minnetonka, present.
Acom, Minnetonka, present. Agbadge,
Agbadge, St. Paul, present.
Agbadge, St. Paul, present. Ackland,
Ackland, St. Paul, present.
Ackland, St. Paul, present. Albright,
Albright, Prior Lake, present.
Albright, Prior Lake, present. Anderson,
Anderson, Barsness Township, present.
Anderson, Barsness Township, present. Backer,
Backer, Browns Valley, present.
Backer, Browns Valley, present. Bonner, Bonner, Barr,
R, East Bethel, present.
Barr, East Bethel, present. Baker,
Baker, Wilmer, present.
Baker, Wilmer, present. Becker Finn,
Becker, Finn, Cass Lake, present.
Becker Finn, Cass Lake, present. Bennett,
Bennett, Albert Lee, present.
Bennett, Albert Lee, present. Berg,
Berg, St. Paul, present.
Berg, St. Paul, present. Bernardi,
Bernardi, New Brighton, present.
Bernardi, New Brighton, present. Bierman,
Bierman, St. Paul, present.
Bierman, St. Paul, present. Bliss,
Bliss, St. Paul, present.
Bliss, St. Paul, present. Bow,
Chanhassen, present.
Bow, Chanhassen, present. Bolden,
Bolden, Rochester, present.
Bolden, Rochester, present. Burkle,
Burkle, St. Paul, present.
Burkle, St. Paul, present. Carlson,
Carlson, Bloomington, present.
Carlson, Bloomington, present. Christensen,
Christensen, Stillwater, present.
Christensen, Stillwater, present. Daniels,
St. Paul, present.
Daniels, St. Paul, present. Doubt,
Doubt, Crown, present.
Doubt, Crown, present. Davids,
Davids, Fillmore County, present.
Davids, Fillmore County, present. Davney,
Davney, St. Paul, present.
Davney, St. Paul, present. Damuth,
Damuth, Cold Spring, present.
Damuth, Cold Spring, present. Detmer,
Detmer, St. Paul, present.
Detmer, St. Paul, present. Drazkowski,
Druskowski, Winona, present.
Drazkowski, Winona, present. Eklund, Eklund,
Eklund, St. Paul, present.
Eklund, St. Paul, present. Edelson,
Edelson, Edina, present.
Edelson, Edina, present. Elkins,
Elkins, St. Paul, present.
Elkins, St. Paul, present. Erickson,
Erickson, St. Paul, present.
Erickson, St. Paul, present. Feist.
Feist, St. Paul, present.
Feist, St. Paul, present. Fisher.
Fisher, St. Paul, present.
Fisher, St. Paul, present. Frankie.
Frankie, St. Paul Park, present.
Frankie, St. Paul Park, present. Franzen.
Franson, St. Paul, present.
Franzen, St. Paul, present. Frazier. Frazier. Frederick.
Frederick, Mankato, present.
Frederick, Mankato, present. Freiburg.
Freiburg, Golden Valley, present.
Freiburg, Golden Valley, present. Garofalo.
Garofalo, Farmington, present.
Garofalo, Farmington, present. Gomez.
Gomez, St. Paul, present.
Gomez, St. Paul, present. Green.
Green, Foston, present.
Green, Boston, present. Greenman.
Greenman, St. Paul, present.
Greenman, St. Paul, present. Grossel.
Grossel, Clearbrook, present.
Grossel, Clearbrook, present. Gruenhagen.
Gruenhagen, St. Paul, present.
Gruenhagen, St. Paul, present. Haley. Haley, St. Paul, present. Hamilton.
Hamilton, St. Paul, present.
Hamilton, St. Paul, present. Hanson R.
Hanson R., St. Paul, present.
Hanson R, St. Paul, present. Hanson J.
Hanson J, St. Paul, present.
Hanson J, St. Paul, present. Hassan.
Son, St. Paul, present.
Hassan, St. Paul, present. Hausman.
Hausman, St. Paul, present.
Hausman, St. Paul, present. Heinrich.
Heinrich, St. Paul, present.
Heinrich, St. Paul, present. Heinzman.
Heinzman, Nisswa, present.
Heinzman, Nisswa, present. Her. Her, St. Paul, present. Hertas. Hertas. Hollins.
Collins, St. Paul, present.
Hollins, St. Paul, present. Hornstein.
Hornstein, Minneapolis, present.
Hornstein, Minneapolis, present. Howard.
Howard, Richfield, present.
Howard, Richfield, present. Hewitt.
Hewitt, St. Paul, present.
Hewitt, St. Paul, present. Igo.
Igo, St. Paul, present.
Igo, St. Paul, present. Johnson.
Johnson, St. Paul, present.
Johnson, St. Paul, present. Jordan.
Jordan, St. Paul, present.
Jordan, St. Paul, present. Jurgens.
Jurgens, St. Paul, present.
Jurgens, St. Paul, present. Keeler.
Keeler, St. Paul, present.
Keeler, St. Paul, present. Keel.
Keel, Hammond Township, present.
Keel, Hammond Township, present. Cleveland.
Cleveland, Plymouth, present.
Cleveland, Plymouth, present. Cagle. Cagle. Katiza-Wattoon.
Katiza-Wattoon, Eden Prairie, present.
Katiza-Wattoon, Eden Prairie, present. Cosnick.
Cosmic, St. Paul, present.
Cosnick, St. Paul, present. Kresha.
Kresha, Little Falls, present.
Kresha, Little Falls, present. Lee.
Lee, Minneapolis, present.
Lee, Minneapolis, present. Liebling.
Liebling, Rochester, present.
Liebling, Rochester, present. Lilly.
Lily, North St. Paul, present.
Lilly, North St. Paul, present. Lippert.
Lippert, Northfield, present.
Lippert, Northfield, present. Lislegard.
Lislegard, St. Paul, present.
Lislegard, St. Paul, present. Long.
Long, St. Paul, present.
Long, St. Paul, present. Lucero.
Lucero, St. Paul, present.
Lucero, St. Paul, present. Lewick.
Lewick, St. Paul, present.
Lewick, St. Paul, present. Mariani.
Mariani, St. Paul, present.
Mariani, St. Paul, present. Markwart.
Markwart, St. Paul, present.
Markwart, St. Paul, present. Mason.
Mason, Egan, present.
Mason, Egan, present. McDonald.
McDonald, Delano, present.
McDonald, Delano, present. Mecklen.
Mecklen, Becker Township, present.
Mecklen, Becker Township, present. Miller.
Miller, St. Paul, present.
Miller, St. Paul, present. Moeller.
Moeller, Shoreview, present.
Moeller, Shoreview, present. Moran.
Moran, St. Paul, present.
Moran, St. Paul, present. Morrison.
Morrison, Deep Haven, present.
Morrison, Deep Haven, present. Mortensen.
Mortensen, St. Paul, present.
Mortensen, St. Paul, present. Mueller. Mueller, St. Paul, present. Munson. Munson. Murphy.
Murphy, St. Paul, present.
Murphy, St. Paul, present. Nash.
Nash, St. Paul, present.
Nash, St. Paul, present. Nelson M.
Nelson M., Brooklyn Park, present.
Nelson M. Brooklyn Park, present. Nelson N.
Nelson N., Clover Township, present.
Nelson N. Clover Township, present. New Brindley. New Brindley, St. Paul, present. Newer.
Newer, Minneapolis, present.
Newer, Minneapolis, present. Novotny.
Devani, Elk River, present.
Novotny, Elk River, present. O'Driscoll.
O'Driscoll, Sartell, present.
O'Driscoll, Sartell, present. Olson B.
Olson B., St. Paul, present.
Olson B. St. Paul, present. Olson L.
Olson L. Duluth, present.
Olson L. Duluth, present. O'Neill.
O'Neill, St. Paul, present.
O'Neill, St. Paul, present. Pulowski.
Pulowski, Winona, present.
Pulowski, Winona, present. Petersburg.
Petersburg, Wasika, present.
Petersburg, Wasika, present. Farr.
Farr, LeSueur, present.
Farr, LeSueur, present. Pearson.
Pearson, Rochester Township, present.
Pearson, Rochester Township, present. Pinto.
Pinto, St. Paul, present.
Pinto, St. Paul, present. Poston.
Poston, Lakeshore, present.
Poston, Lakeshore, present. Pryor.
Pryor, Minnetonka, present.
Pryor, Minnetonka, present. Quam. Quam, St. Paul, present. Raleigh.
Raleigh, St. Paul, present.
Raleigh, St. Paul, present. Rasmussen. Rasmussen, St. Paul, present. Ryer.
Ryer, Egan, present.
Ryer, Egan, present. Richardson.
Mendota Heights, present.
Richardson, Mendota Heights, present. Robbins. Robbins, St. Paul, present. Sandell.
Sandell, Woodbury, present.
Sandell, Woodbury, present. Sandsted.
So I'm going to exit.
Sandsted.
Sandsted, Hibbing, present.
Sandsted, Hibbing, present. Schumacher.
Schumacher, Laverne, present.
Schumacher, Laverne, present. Schultz.
Schultz, St. Paul, present.
Schultz, St. Paul, present. Scott.
Scott, Andover, present.
Scott, Andover, present. Stevenson.
Stevenson, St. Paul, present.
Stevenson, St. Paul, present. Sundin.
Sundin, St. Paul, present.
Sundin, St. Paul, present. Swazinski.
Swazinski, Northern Township, present.
Swazinski, Northern Township, present. Tice.
Tice, St. Paul, present.
Tice, St. Paul, present. Thompson.
Thompson, St. Paul, present.
Thompson, St. Paul, present. Torkelson.
Torkelson, St. Paul, present.
Torkelson, St. Paul, present. Erdahl. Erdahl, St. Paul, present. Vang.
Vane, Brooklyn Center, present.
Vang, Brooklyn Center, present. Waslowick.
Waslowick, White Bear Township, present.
Waslowick, White Bear Township, present. West.
West, Blaine, present.
West, Blaine, present. Winkler. Winkler, St. Paul, present. Wolgamott. Wolgamott, St. Paul, present. Zhang Jie.
Zhang Jie, St. Paul, present.
Zhang Jie, St. Paul, present. Zhang T.
Young T, St. Paul, present.
Zhang T, St. Paul, present. Joachim.
Joachim, St. Paul, present.
Joachim, St. Paul, present. Speaker Hartman. Speaker Hartman, St. Paul, present. Bonner.
Bonner, St. Paul, present.
Bonner, St. Paul, present. Frazier.
Frazier, New Hope, present.
Frazier, New Hope, present. Hertos.
Hertos, Greenfield, present.
Hertos, Greenfield, present. Cagle.
Cagle, Spring Lake Park, present.
Cagle, Spring Lake Park, present. Munson. Munson. answered the call, so they must be.
Okay, so we're not lighting them up green. We have quite a few that are.
I know. So 121 green, so there's always a handful that are. Yes.
I thought we were greening them when they didn't green themselves.
Or only no full calls.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Got it, because this tells us who we're in the call.
Right, because some of them just don't do it, so
Yep.
we'll wait and do it on the first roll call.
The clerk will close the roll. A quorum is present. The clerk will read the journal of the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 92nd Session, 2021, 12th day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Wednesday, February 10th, 2021.
If there is no objection, further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Reports of standing committees and divisions. There's a copy of this order of business online. If there's no objection, the reports will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the reports are adopted. Second reading of House files.
Second reading, House File Number 91.
Second reading.
Second reading, House File Number 333.
Second reading. Introduction of bills. The following House files have been offered for introduction today. The chief clerk will report the House files and give them their first reading.
Introduction of first reading of House Files 988 through 1079.
First reading, House Files 988 through 1079.
There's a motion at the desk.
There's a motion at the desk. The clerk will report the motion.
Pursuant to Article 4, Section 19 of the Constitution of the State of Minnesota, Kresha moves that the rule therein be suspended and an urgency be declared, and that the rules of the House be so far suspended so that House File Number 1051 be given its second, third readings and be placed upon its final passage.
The member from Morrison, Representative Kresha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, members. That is my motion. Members, back in March, many of us would have made the exact same decisions that Governor Walz made. We were at that point looking at uncertainty. We were looking at a COVID infection rate that was unknown. And frankly, the prospects coming through the other parts of the world into the United States were very alarming. We no longer anticipate 20,000 deaths. And global research since then has shown that kids and teachers can safely return to school. Today, we are hearing from our constituents, we are hearing from our parents that the devastating effects caused by this distance learning model and the scattered way that we are now educating our kids is taking its toll on academic achievement, mental health, and more. We hear this daily. I'm sure I'm not the only one that is hearing the stories of parents that are just distraught, that the challenges at home that are just overwhelming. I don't believe the governor is listening to those concerns. I don't believe we're getting through to him with the enormity and magnitude of this situation for education. Members, for many students who live in compromised homes, the schools are the safest place they can be. In fact, the fear of COVID pales in comparison to the trauma that many of our students are facing and the obstacles that are holding them back in the academic achievement. Our local school districts know this information. They know their communities. Our parents know this. They know where the kids need to be for the best success. And continuing to hold the executive orders by the governor is not helping and is making the day and academic learning loss worse by the day. The science and data show that we can safely get our kids back in the classroom. We've heard even multiple times from the CDC that we could safely return to in-person learning before all the vaccinations are through educators and the classroom. Today's bill will allow schools, if we were to take this action, will allow schools to bring local health decisions home and we need to keep schools closed no longer than they need to be. We need to trust our local school boards, administrators, parents, and teachers to work collaboratively and make decisions that are in the best interest of the district. The reality is during this peacetime emergency, the governor's executive orders carry the weight of law. And if a school were to choose a path to in-person learning, MDH or MDE can disagree, choose their own metrics, and step in and remove that school's authority. We've created, I won't say we, the governor and his administration at this point has created a culture of fear and confusion. There's no way to overcome the administration's fear or to keep up with the changing executive orders. Just look back to all the changes we've seen since last March and how we've handled education. Our school officials are having a hard time just keeping up with what they can, should, and shouldn't do in these guidelines. Members, listen to our constituents. I'm sure the stories are very similar to what I'm hearing. And that is, we need to look after our kids and be more worried about academic success, achievement rates, graduation rates, and we need to get these kids back in school. If we're going to follow the science, let's follow the science. Let's just not follow it when it's convenient. And the data is pretty clear that we can get kids back into school. We can start to work with local schools, and let's let MDH and MDE work with schools to be successful rather than make them feel like they can't do it or create a situation that's very difficult for them to put their kids back in school. So with that, members, I would ask that you would support this motion. This is a file that's moving forward in the Senate. It has lots of support, and I've heard from lots of parents, and I would hope that you would support this request with me. And with that, Madam Speaker, I would ask for a roll call.
Representative Kresha requests a roll call on his motion to declare an urgency to suspend the rules. There are not 15 members in the chamber. If you support a roll call, please send an email to hands@house.mn within the next 60 seconds. There being 15 hands, there will be a roll call. The member from Meeker, Representative Erdahl.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I rise in support of Representative Kresha's motion. Certainly, it's important that we recognize the pandemic. And I think that through the efforts of a lot of fine people, that has been done. But we've now reached the point, as Representative Kresha just relayed, where it's safe to bring our children back into the schools. Now, I taught for 35 years in New London Spicer Public Schools. I can't imagine being an effective teacher and having an effective learning environment if I could not build relationships with my students and have interaction with them. Just this morning, I had a discussion with a father who has a suburban daughter. He told me her schedule. Comes down in her bathrobe at 8:30 in the morning for breakfast, goes back up to her room, and by 11 o'clock, she's done with her studies for the day. Once a week, she goes to school. In one of her classes, she has choir that she goes to school for, but you can't sing. And then the next week, she goes in for math. I mean, having a math class directly with a teacher once every 2 weeks, well, some of you could do it. It would be impossible for me. I received a correspondence from a woman in my district about her 5th grader who suffers from anxiety, who she needs desperately interaction with students of her own age. Gym has become arduous because of masks. Snack time, that's taken away because they have to take their masks off too long to eat. But more importantly, we are sacrificing learning to fight the pandemic. Where does this leave us? Reports that I've seen indicate that our students right now are learning at a 60% level compared to what they learned at before, to what is normal. We, back in right after World War I, there was a time referred to in our history for the lost generation. We are facing a prospect of another lost generation. And what is being lost? Knowledge, interaction, companionship, health, and just maybe a stable future.
The member from Mille Lacs, Representative Erickson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And, I also want to support this motion and let the listeners, the colleagues of mine know that my constituents are crying out for a dialogue with the governor and are tired of a monologue. They have sent him numerous emails, letters, repeatedly asking that he stop with this executive order that is confusing local school districts as far as reopening. When we think about all of that information that's out there about reopening schools, we can look at the Journal of the American Medical Association, which says there's little evidence that schools have contributed meaningfully to increase community transmission, or to UNICEF that found that school closures did little to slow the spread of virus while causing long-term harm to children. And you've heard that related by Representative Erdahl. In the Atlantic in December, an article said what has happened in schools and is astonishing public policy failure. Just last week, Randy Weingarten, the head of the American Federation of Teachers, said this is a local decision to open our schools. And Arnie Duncan, former Secretary of Education under President Obama, and with whom I worked on with teacher evaluation and principal evaluation, has said, we need to open our schools. Our children are suffering. When I think of Minneapolis and its proficiency rates, math 40%, reading 45%, science 36%, and that's the data from 2019, because there was no testing in 2020, and there probably won't be testing in 2021. So Governor Tim Walz has to face the fact that he is going to be responsible for the greatest increase in the achievement gap in Minnesota in state history. And that should be just a real strong message to him that our children and our parents, our families are crying out to open our schools. Children consider their teachers essential. They want to be sitting in a desk in a classroom where they can enjoy the great teaching that goes on when it's a face-to-face situation. They are willing to wear masks and socially distance and eat lunch differently and go out for recess differently, but they want to be in our classrooms because they know that's where they see their friends, that's where they can receive the services that they need. And in calls to my office and to meetings with parents, our children are suffering from mental breakdowns. A father called recently and he wept because his son was staying in his bedroom and not coming out because he had no reason to be experiencing this distance learning because he was learning nothing and he had no association with his friends. So members, students and families are being devastated by these school closures, especially I think distance learning has taken a toll on our academic achievement. As I pointed out with Minneapolis, we need to be so concerned about closing our achievement gap. The science and the data are clear. They say we can safely get our students back in the classroom. Even President Biden's CDC director has said that we could return to in-person learning. So today's proposal that Representative Kresha has brought forth is so important for ensuring that our children are receiving the education that we have promised them, that we in this state of Minnesota in our Constitution tell them that they're going to receive an education. And it seems to me we have the administration blocking that. So members, I ask for your support of this motion by Representative Kresha and want you again to remember that Governor Walz is going to have to face the fact that he is responsible for the greatest increase in the achievement gap in the state's history. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Freeborn, Representative Bennett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, I rise in support of Representative Kresha's motion. As a teacher of 33 years in the public schools, I know and understand well that the art of teaching is so much more than the input of knowledge. Children are not like computers where you can just program them with the various facts and figures of the day. They're human beings that need human interaction, face-to-face interaction, connection with their teachers who can then engage them in the love of education. You just cannot do that through a computer. Members, the CDC says it's safe for schools to open. The WHO says it's safe for schools to open. Many, many experts say it's safe for schools can open. They can open safely. I want to share with you a story of a student of mine, a young girl who's now in 8th grade. She's one of my former 1st grade students. I love keeping in contact with my former students, and she's one whose mother contacted me a number of months ago after the distance learning started. And this young girl, Taylor, even in 1st grade, was an excellent top student. She's been a top student all along, but her mother said, Taylor is struggling greatly and she's failing her classes. If a top student is failing her class, how much more are the kids who already struggle failing? Every day makes a difference. Every day that achievement gap widens when kids aren't in school where they can engage in their education. My constituents have contacted me and they're very, very frustrated. They've tried to contact the governor because that's their only avenue to get their opinions known on this, that they want schools open. And they tell me, they say the governor doesn't call us back. We don't get any response. Who else can we talk to? And I said, that's the only person you can talk to because he's in charge right now. Members, our schools need to be open. Our students need to be in the classroom face to face. Let's get them there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The member from Red Wing, Representative Haley. The member from Chisago, Representative New.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, members, for the debate today. I appreciate all the comments that have been offered. This vote today should be an absolute no-brainer for anyone in this chamber. We know that distance learning is having devastating consequences on our kids. And I know that every single one of us in this body have gotten the emails from parents and teachers and students about the effect that this is having on them. It's harming their mental health, it's harming their academic progress. It's causing kids to miss out on those sort of once-in-a-lifetime events that happen during their school years. Those things that we took for granted growing up. And it's because time and time again, you've decided that loyalty to a governor of your own party is more important than relinquishing
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
ounce of his emergency
Motives and personalities in debate.
Representative Winkler, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
State your point of order.
Representative New Brindley is invoking motives and personalities in the debate in the same sentence. She's doubly out of order.
Members, please proceed without assigning motives to members in the chamber. Representative New Brindley.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The point stands. You won't vote to take away his powers. You won't vote to give the legislature the ability to review his executive orders. You won't vote to put in benchmarks for when we can wind down the powers, or to even offer a timeline. Nothing. You will not relinquish an ounce of control for this governor. Not an ounce. Do you really have that little faith in your school boards? Do you really think that they can't do their jobs and keep schools safe without the governor lording over them? Or do you want the school boards to hand in their election certificates too? You've already done that with the legislature, and apparently that goes for school boards now as well. The reality is, the governor and the Democrats in the legislature have outlined no plan. None. We're going to be kept in the dark. Yet again, as we wait for one man to decide for all of us what the new rules are. There's rumors in the press again that the governor may announce new guidelines on schools. Why do we have to wait? Is there anyone in the chamber who wants to share what he's planning? This isn't how we should be operating. We have 201 legislators and thousands of local school officials ready to lead and make decisions. Decisions that work for their local districts. We've seen at the federal level what the Biden plan is. He thinks that kids should be in school 1 day a week for half the schools by the end of April. This is insanity. This is an acceptable goal? It would actually take us backwards. Right now, 60% of schools have kids in the classroom 1 day a week. He wants to go backwards. Does that mean that President Biden and Democrat governors plan to roll back the progress we've made on school reopenings? Members, this bill today makes sure that politics doesn't trump science. The science says that we can get our schools open safely. Private and charter schools have been doing it for months. Study after study shows that schools are not a vector of transmission. It actually may be, our own MDE said there actually is correlation that having kids in schools leads to less COVID transmission. Let's trust the science. If we need more PPE or funding, let's release the federal funds that have been set aside. Enough with the delays, enough with the excuses. You know, this bill does not force our schools to open. This bill leaves those decisions in the hands of our local school districts. A yes vote on this bill today is a vote for local control. A yes vote today is a vote to say that you trust our school boards, whose election certificates are just as valid as ours, by the way. You trust our superintendents, you trust our teachers, you trust our parents. A no vote is a vote that you don't trust them, that you think that Governor Walz and MDE know better. Ultimately, I don't actually think that you believe that. But I think we know that a lot of folks are going to vote no today. Because as it turns out, people don't want an angry call from the governor or his chief of staff.
Representative New Brindley, I would remind you not to discuss motives as you discuss the substance of your argument. Representative New Brindley.
We've heard that just in the past couple of weeks, multiple organizations and legislators who have gotten those angry phone calls. If you step out of line, you get a phone call. So please ask yourself, Who is your priority here? Is your priority going to be towing the line and carrying water for the governor, or is your priority going to be standing up for your constituents and what's right for your district? We're voting today to side with our school boards, to side with our teachers, to side with our kids and parents, to side with local control. And I sure hope you'll join us.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Davney.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, members. Members, I'm going to ask that you vote no on the Kresha amendment, or excuse me, the Kresha motion. I'm a little bewildered by the sense of urgency that Representative Kresha is expressing through this motion. This is the companion to Senate File 2, which was introduced on January 7th. And this bill was only introduced today here in the House. So there didn't seem to be a sense of urgency for the last 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm uncertain of the sense of urgency now. This motion and the underlying bill actually is a very simplistic response to a very complex problem. It ignores the fact that it's not the governor that's in charge. It's a virus that's in charge. And it's our community's health that should be our greatest concern. Our greatest concern in this area should be students and families and the health and well-being of them and our school staff. That's not facilitated by a one-size-fits-all approach such as this. It's not facilitated by a simplistic, let's just open the doors of the schools. Many families across the state are very apprehensive about a return to in-person learning. You can see that in school attendance in the over 300 districts that are open to some form of in-person learning today. Many of those families are the families of frontline workers who are apprehensive about returning to work. Many of them BIPOC families, Black, Indigenous, or people of color who are particularly hesitant about a return to in-person learning. It's not just opening the doors, it's also making sure that we are prepared and resourced to respond to the needs of the students and their families when they do come back. We can see the challenges. The Stillwater School District, for instance, opened and then had to quarantine Stonebridge Elementary because of positive COVID-19 tests there. Bloomington reopened and had to very quickly go back to distance learning because of COVID positive tests amongst school staff there. So it's not a simplistic situation as this bill would indicate. And as Representative New Brindley just indicated, this isn't about students and families and schools. It seems to be more about the governor. And I would urge us to instead center the needs of students and families and the resources that schools need to best respond to them. And do that first by looking at things like Representative Hassan's House File 4 and other bills that the governor is bringing forward that respond to the needs of students. And I'd urge a no vote again on the Kresha motion. Thank you.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Winkler.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was thinking of asking Representative Kresha to yield to find out whether he had asked Representative Pawlowski for a bill hearing, since Representative Pawlowski is hearing bills and discussing issues related to Chapter 12 and the Governor's Emergency Authority, which is all that this bill does, is address emergency authority of the governor. And then I thought, well, I could ask him if he wanted to make a motion to move this bill from the Rules Committee over to the Education Committee so that Representative Davney could have a chance to hear it. But I realized there was no point in asking Representative Kresha whether he had had an opportunity to put in a bill hearing request yet, because he only introduced the bill today. This bill is such an urgency that it is so important to get it done that senators, not always known for their speed, got this bill in on the second day of session. They called it Senate File 2 because they thought it was really, really important. Representative Kresha's bill, however, was only introduced today, House File 1051. So 1,050 bills were more important than this one, apparently according to the priority. Yet the motion in front of us is to declare an urgency, suspend our rules under the Constitution, and immediately pass this bill, stripping the governor of the ability to address the pandemic in schools. It's a bad idea, and it is not an urgent idea. Right now, it's just past 4:15. I am expecting a text message at any moment from my 11-year-old who just got off the bus, the school bus, the public school bus, and is walking into my house. And when August gets in the house, he'll send me a text and let me know he got home because he's in school. 4 days a week, he's in school. Yesterday, I had no children at home because all 3 were in school, in public school. This isn't an urgency because it is already happening. This isn't a question of local control because local school districts are making decisions every day about which kids should be in school and when. This is exactly one point I would agree with Representative New Brindley on. She said, quote, "This isn't how we should be operating," end quote. I could not agree more. If we are going to stand here and make the case for COVID and kids and schools, then we should at least be telling the truth. Kids are going back to school. This bill is not an urgency because you just introduced it today. This bill is about something else entirely. Members, we have committees busy working on legislation on these very topics. If you wish to discuss it, bring it forward. We are not going to rely on your assurances about science in the pandemic. You have been wrong every time, and thousands more Minnesotans are dead since you last told us that this wasn't an issue, that this wasn't an emergency any longer. Members, vote no, end the charade. Let's get on with the real work of this session.
The member from Goodhue, Representative Haley. Your mic's not working.
Madam Speaker, thank you. Representative Winkler, you said this bill could go to Representative Pawlowski's, Chair Pawlowski's committee. I serve on that committee. I don't have any confidence that bills will move out of that committee, and I think you know that. That committee is in charge of legislative process, and chiefly, our charter was to do 2 things. Have a short-term solution to the governor's emergency powers and a long-term rewrite of Chapter 12. I had a bill in that committee last week, and there was no process to take a vote. Nobody wanted to take a vote, to move it out of committee, to bring it to rules, to do anything. Representative Dabney said, we need to wait. We need to wait to see the governor's bills come forward. The last I understood, bills originated in the legislature and were debated and voted on, and if adopted, then went to the governor's desk for signature, not the other way around. We all know how this is working, Representative Winkler, and it's not working well. It is an emergency when people's voices are not being heard. It is an emergency when kids are suffering and parents are calling us every day. And it is an emergency when a local school board, a local superintendent, and local teachers can't make a decision to change that. Please, members, vote yes.
The maker of the motion, the member from Morrison, Representative Kresha.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, members, for the debate. I'll respectfully disagree with some of my colleagues. Why the perceived urgency? There is an urgency, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. I'm going to tell you with a personal story. But first of all, members, I'm in the minority. I've raised motions, and just last week, it was called out on a point of order. Time and time again, the majority has blocked the path to try to get things done. Representative Winkler, to your point, yes, this came out. It's Bill 1051. Reviser has been backed up. You see 2 of my bills today, 1051 and 10008 were introduced today because the reviser has been backed up and it has been difficult to get down there and get bills into the hopper. The mechanisms that we normally have don't exist. In the minority, raising a point of urgency is one of the tools that we have. I'm happy to schedule a hearing if the majority members want to allow me to get into your schedules. I'm happy to make that happen, but I can't. In the minority, we have very few tools. You mentioned a charade. Let me tell you about the charade in my district. Let me tell you just one of the stories of why this is urgent for me. And I'm going to try to go through this slow. Members, while our schools were shut down, I had a family come to me. They had 4 kids. The mother was making a decision as to whether or not she should stay in the abusive home or sleep in the car that night. The temperature that night was projected to be below freezing. The question the mother was facing was whether or not to sleep in a car with her 4 kids or go home. And she was choosing to sleep in a car. We found housing for that mother and family. There was no internet in that car. The kids were going to get up the next day and have to try to deal with not being able to go to school, a safe place, and still act like their life was going on. Representative Winkler, I'm glad your son is home safe. I'm glad he's able to send you a text. Because I deal with families here who are making decisions of whether or not they should be in a car or be in the home life that they have. And I don't have unique situations in this district. When you work and you look in domestic violence and child protection, you see these stories every single day. These are not new to educators. These are not new to our communities. We are taking the ability of our local schools to get to the families and kids that need it the most away by not listening to them. That's why there's an urgency. For those kids to be in a warm school the very next day to at least for 6 to 8 hours be able to take their mind off the trauma they're facing is a big deal. It's not a charade. It's not a game. It's life and death. So vote however you want, members. I can't control your vote. I'm just trying to respond to the many, many, many situations I hear about every single day. And I know you're hearing them too. Representative Erdahl mentioned the lost generation. Representative Erickson mentioned every day that goes by in this, we are setting our kids to be further and further behind. That is a reality. That is not something we are making up. We don't sit over here in a political round table and say, how do we make political points on this side? What we do is we say, how do we get the majority to understand the urgency of what we're hearing every single day? Members, I ask for a green vote.
There being no further discussion on the Kresha motion, the clerk will take the roll. Members using the remote voting technology, please vote. Will the clerk call the names of those members who have not voted yet?
Doubt.
Doubt votes aye.
Doubt, aye. Davids.
David's aye.
Davids, aye. Detmer.
Detmer votes aye.
Detmer, aye. Grossel.
Grossel, aye.
Grossel, aye. Hausman.
Houseman, no.
Hausman, no. Howard.
Howard, no.
Howard, no. Keel.
Keel, aye.
Keel, aye. Mariani.
Mariani, no.
Mariani, no. Mason.
No.
Mason, no. McDonald.
McDonald, yes.
McDonald, aye. Munson.
Munson, aye.
Munson, aye. West.
West, aye.
West, aye.
The clerk will close the roll. There being 64 ayes and 70 nays, the motion does not prevail.
House File Number 1051 is referred to the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration.
Messages from the Senate.
Message from the Senate, Madam Speaker. I hereby announce the passage by the Senate of the following House file, herewith returned. House File Number 114, an act relating to civil actions. The message is signed Cal R. Ludeman, Secretary of the Senate.
Report from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration.
Winkler from the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration, pursuant to Rules 1.21 and 3.33, designates the following bill to be placed on the calendar for the day for Monday, February 15th, 2021, and establishes a pre-filing requirement for amendments offered to the following bill. House File Number 445.
Motions and resolutions. There are copies of the non-controversial motions at the House desk and online. If there's no objection, we will take action on these motions first. Hearing no objection, the motions prevail.
Lippert moves that House File Number 88, now on the General Register, be re-referred to the Committee on Ways and Means.
Representative Lippert, to your motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This bill simply authorizes adult day services to be offered at veterans' homes around the state. It's purely policy, but there may be some fiscal considerations, so the Ways and Means Chair would like to hear the bill.
Discussion to the motion. Representative Katiza-Watun, are you seeking recognition on this motion?
No, Madam Speaker.
Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Ryer moves that House File Number 363 be recalled from the Committee on Taxes and be referred to the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy.
Representative Ryer, to your motion.
Almost done.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Speaker, yes, this is my motion. House File 363 is about collecting medical debt through revenue recapture. I've spoken with both chairs, and they agree it should first be heard in the Health, Finance, and Policy Committee, and then go to taxes.
Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no.
Aye.
The motion prevails.
Barr moves that House File Number 554 be recalled from the Committee on Health, Finance, and Policy and be re-referred to the Committee on State Government, Finance, and Elections.
Member for Minoka, Representative Barr.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That is my motion. I have spoken with both chairs and both have agreed to this motion.
Any discussion to the Barr motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails.
Katiza Watun moves that House File Number 911 be recalled from the Committee on Education, Finance, and be re-referred to the Committee on Early Childhood Finance and Policy.
Member from Hennepin, Representative Katiza Watun, to your motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. House File 911 is a bill relating to Head Start. It's an appropriation. The House Early Childhood Finance and Policy Committee has jurisdiction over this item. I've talked to both chairs, and they support this bill being recalled from the Committee on Education, Finance and re-referred to the Committee on Early Childhood Finance and Policy.
Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no.
Aye.
The motion prevails. Announcements. The member from Wright, Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and members. I'd like to ask for a point of personal privilege.
Please state your point of personal privilege.
I would like to ask for a moment of silence for the victims in my district, and if you would allow me, I'd like to speak just quickly about two of them. Thank you, Madam Speaker. On Tuesday this week, on February 9th, at 5:54 a.m., the first 911 call went out in my district. And the Buffalo Line Clinic experienced a horrendous act of violence. There were 5 victims. 1 was killed and there 4 were injured. 2 names have been released since Tuesday. Lindsay Overbay, 37. She was a wife, a mother of 2. She was a medical assistant that had just joined Alina in November of 2018. She'd only recently moved to Buffalo from New Ulm, where she had grown up. She did not survive. Another victim whose name has been released is Sherry Curtis. Sherry is an LPN, and she joined Alina and started working in 2013. She survived, but is still hospitalized. The 3 other victims have asked that their names not be released, but I would like a moment of silence to remember all of the victims, those that have died, and the 3 that are recovering, and the 1 that has been released from the hospital and still recovering at home. So members, thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers and your love that have showered my district. And with that, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence.
Members, please join me in a moment of silence for Lindsay Overby, Sherry Curtis, and the others who were injured. Further announcements. Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, I move that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 3:30 p.m., Monday, February 15th, 2021.
Representative Winkler moves that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns until 3:30 p.m., Monday, February 15th, 2021. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no.
No.
The motion prevails. Representative Winkler.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House do now adjourn.
Representative Winkler moves that the House do now adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say no. The motion prevails. The House stands adjourned until 3:30 p.m. Monday, February 15th, 2021.